In fact, Nigel's not the first case of this that has come to my attention, but previous ones I've not been able to publicise because they're private citizens. They don't want their lives ruined by being told, the whole world being told that they can't have a bank account. So this has been going on for some time, and Nigel's done a service really to the whole country in dragging it into the public domain. Because what's happening here is you have these people, these senior bank managers. They are essentially bureaucrats. They're not really wealth creators. They are people who administer things on behalf of the taxpayer. And they are using their positions to exercise their own views, their own prejudices, to other people's disadvantage. And that's absolutely wrong. And it used to be that they thought, well, you don't have an absolute right to a bank account. Well, in this day and age, if you take away somebody's bank account, you're almost taking away their ability to operate in modern society. You can't even order a train ticket or whatever. So there's a real big problem here. It needs to be resolved. There's actually more than one. I mean, what Nigel's been talking about this morning is the breach of his privacy, the breach of his the confidentiality of his bank account, which you would have thought was absolute. The banks are not allowed to talk about your account to anybody other than the tax authorities and the police and the anti-fraud authorities. They can't talk to anybody else about it, and yet this lady has done. And so that's one part. The other part is simply this question of disqualifying people from accounts. I mean, I think this is a huge story. I think it's going to turn out to be tens of thousands of people have lost their accounts care of the prejudices of their banks.
And that's the point, isn't it? I mean, Nigel Farage, his political views cost him his bank account. It's like banks are now operating like political regimes and he's some form of activist. But David, isn't it all the more astonishing that it was the chief executive, no less, of the bank who's paid £5.5 million a year, apparently a woman who's had a stellar career in banking, who thought it was OK to gossip at a dinner to the BBC business editor about the private financial affairs of any citizen, let alone somebody as high profile as Nigel Farage?
Well, I agree. It is astonishing. I mean, it shocked me when I first heard it. But I'm afraid there is a class of people in Britain who view people like Nigel as second-class citizens, beyond the pale in some. And that's what's going on here, I'm afraid. They wouldn't have done the same, I don't know, with Greta Thunberg or somebody. But Nigel is another camp, and it was thought to be okay to do it. I mean, disgraceful in my view, and actually really quite surprising that she tried to hang on.